India has lodged a strong protest with China today over a map unveiled by China. In fact, a statement released by the External Affairs Ministry just a few minutes ago reading, and I'm quoting, "We have today lodged a strong protest through diplomatic channels with the Chinese side on the so-called 2023 standard map of China that lays claim to India's territory. We reject these claims as they have no basis. Such steps by the Chinese side only complicate the resolution of the boundary question." Now, if we were to grade China for presumption, arrogance, and an imperial mindset, it would basically receive the highest marks in the world. Not something to be proud of. You see, 1 minute they talk about peace at the border, and the next minute they claim large chunks of territory from their neighbors. And Beijing has yet again shown huge sections of India as part of China. That's right, Beijing is at it again. It's only been days, by the way, since India and China met on the sidelines of the BRICS summit and spoke of a peaceful resolution of the border disputes. The two sides have also met recently for longer talks, and today China has released an updated map that has sparked outrage in India and deep worry in Taiwan and the Philippines. What's wrong with the map, you ask? Well, it includes Indian territories of Arunachal Pradesh and Aksai within China. It also incorporates Taiwan and the disputed South China Sea regions. The updated standard map, as they call it, has once again raised the prospect of Chinese aggression. Remember, only a few weeks ago, President Xi Jinping asked his country's military to be ready to fight on both the waves and mountains. The official map was released today by China's Ministry of Natural Resources on its website. And the explanation was they forgot to mention that these arbitrary claims also inflame tensions with the neighbors and threaten war. India can never forget China's aggression in 1962 to change the line of actual control. And that was not the only bit of Chinese aggression in the 1960s, of course. In 1969, China invaded Russia to take Outer Manchuria and parts of Siberia. And according to the state-run Global Times, the present map has been compiled based on the drawing method of the national boundaries of China and various countries. That is aggressive nonsense. Because if that were the case, why has it ignored India's position on Arunachal Pradesh? China calls the northeastern state of Arunachal Pradesh South Tibet. And India has repeatedly reminded China that Arunachal Pradesh has always been and will always be an integral part of India. And this is not the first time China has tried to falsely claim Indian territory. In the year 2012, China showed Arunachal Pradesh and Aksai as its territory in their e-passports. In the year 2014, the Chinese map claimed Arunachal Pradesh as its own, provoking India. And then, in 2015, China greeted Prime Minister Modi with a wrong map of India, one in which Kashmir and Arunachal Pradesh were missing. And in the year 2019, China destroyed at least 30,000 world maps because they showed Arunachal Pradesh as Indian territory. In the year 2020, new Chinese digital maps claimed parts of Arunachal Pradesh. And then in April this year, China renamed 11 places in Arunachal Pradesh. Of course, India rejected these unilateral attempts at expansionism. But let's be serious and call a spade a spade. The map is a brazen provocation, claiming Indian territory as its own, the sheer audacity of it all. But you see, China's map's ambit goes beyond India's borders. Its hawkish claims over Taiwan and the islands in the South China Sea have become a matter of global concern since they could set off a multi-nation war that would include America and Japan in Taiwan's support. China's pursuit of integrating these islands into its fold aligns with President Xi Jinping's agenda. China's delineation includes the controversial 9-dash line, asserting a substantial portion of the South China Sea as Chinese territory. And so China's arrogance is met with massive outrage from Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, Taiwan. And therefore, the latest development is not new. In fact, it's very much in character for Beijing. China uses maps to lay down markers, but the map is the only beginning, an omen for future war. And that is why it's worrisome to say the least. The new Chinese map comes just a few days after Prime Minister Modi met the Chinese President Xi Jinping. The two leaders had discussed de-escalation of tensions at the border, and the talks were much needed as ties have worsened over the last 3 years. And during their talks, Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping talked about resolving the issues and maintaining dialogue through military and diplomatic channels. But you see, these talks do not indicate any breakthrough because just have a look at what China is actually doing. It refuses to disengage from eastern Ladakh's Depsang Plains and Charding Ninglong Nula at Demchok. And it will not stop building bunkers, posts, artillery positions near the LAC. It will also not stop developing dual-use villages. And it just will not stop unilaterally renaming Indian territories and redrawing the map. China's aggressive moves show that while it talks peace on the surface, it wants to contain India's rising military power. Prolonging talks is classic China. But India is also aware, India is clear that ties cannot be normal unless there is full disengagement at the borders. Indian concerns with China also do not stop at the boundary issue, of course. China's aggressive actions against India through its neighbors in South Asia are also a matter of deep concern. The Indian leadership is in no mood to yield. Let me just turn to the big question for now. Will China's map provocation become the new flashpoint that turns the coming G20 summit in Delhi into a forum of conflict instead of a forum for peace and progress? We know Xi Jinping is going to attend the upcoming G20 summit. His last visit to India was in 2019 before the Galwan clash. Will India raise the issue of this map with China during the summit? Will China back off during discussions with India? We will have to wait and watch what lies ahead as part of Xi Jinping's inscrutable visit. But let me leave you with something to think about. Did Beijing deliberately publish this map at this time in order to sabotage the harmony of the G20 summit to be held in Delhi? My guess is yes. You see, China does not want the G20 summit in Delhi to succeed, and its games have begun. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.